Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Happy Casual Friday heading into the long Thanksgiving weekend. Josh Ryan joined today by Jasmine King, filling in for Abby St. John, who took an early holiday this weekend. Can't blame her, especially on a casual Friday. Lots of news, weather, sports, and more coming up this evening. And of course, we'll dive into question of the day. What's your favorite part about Thanksgiving? And there's quite a few things you can talk about. I don't know about you, Jasmine. I'm just looking forward to seeing family.
I have to agree with you there. I think one of the best parts about Thanksgiving is just hanging out with like your family. And maybe you haven't seen them for a while, maybe you still see them every day, but I think just hanging out with them is really great.
Absolutely. If you folks want to join in on that conversation, head out to our Facebook or Twitter page and give us your favorite part of Thanksgiving. For now, though, let's head out to Eric Bay, who was on location earlier today.
Thanks, guys. Well, we've already seen here so far that the weather has kind of taken a turn for the worst, and we are starting to dip into those winter-like temperatures. And now what we're talking about today is the sock drive, which the Lions Club is putting on. Very important, especially as I did mention, we are getting a little colder here. So we're going to be talking about how you can get involved and help donate some of those socks to those people who are less fortunate but still need to stay warm as it does get colder. But before we do get to all that, we're going to head back into the studio and have a look at your local news.
Candidates in the Battlefords Lloydminster riding took the stage at the Lloyd-X last night, answering questions from constituents about policy and priorities. Eric Bay has more on the All Candidates Forum.
4 candidates hoping to represent Battlefords Lloydminster after October 21st had their voices heard last night. 3-time candidate Larry Ingram, running for the Liberal Party, says the most pressing issue for him is combining the oil and gas industry with greener energy.
We are quite oil dependent in this area, and I don't think that we should be stepping back from the oil industry. I think that we should be embracing it, but making it as positive and sequestering of the carbon, planting more trees, and making everything more greener, but at the same time bringing in the green energy.
NDP candidate Marcella Peterson wants an equitable tax system, making things more affordable for Canadians.
Food sovereignty is a very dear to my heart in terms of what we eat, and I think we need to decide for ourselves what we eat and grow, and not corporations telling us what we're going to eat and what we're going to grow. So life needs to be more affordable, and the rich need to pay more.
Incumbent Rosemary Falk says affordability is also top of mind to her and her riding, and that the Conservatives will help by reducing taxes for all.
The most important issue that they're facing is affordability. Life is getting more and more expensive. Taxes keep going up, cost of living keeps going up, and I mean, when you look at it, half of Canadians are close to $200 to insolvency at the month's end, right? People just want to get ahead, and an Andrew Scheer Conservative government, it's time for you to get ahead.
People's Party of Canada candidate Jason McInnes acknowledges crime is an issue across Battlefords Lloydminster and plans on reducing crime.
Crime is a big one. Battleford Lloydminster, this whole EDA or this riding is not known for its lack of crime. So we have some things we'd like to implement in order to fix that, at least to assist the local governments as well as the provincial governments in taking care of it as well. But we also have a lot of things we want to do for oil and ag.
Advanced polls for the federal election open this weekend. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
After the Saskatchewan candidates, the Alberta side had their turn at the podium, with 4 candidates from the Lakeland riding taking part. Eric Bay has more on what the Alberta candidates had to say.
With the economic downturn, jobs have been hard to come by, and PPC candidate Alain Houle says his top priority is creating jobs throughout the riding.
The economy and jobs, and that means oil, especially in this town and where we were the other day in Bonnyville, and the whole riding really. So jobs, getting oil, and a pipeline built. That's probably one of the most important things. Federally balancing the budget as well.
Conservative Party member Shannon Stubbs, looking for another 4-year term representing the Lakeland region, also believes that job creation is the most important issue constituents are facing.
The most important issue that people bring up to me and that I've been fighting for is the state of the energy sector, building pipelines and creating jobs and ensuring that Alberta can actually thrive within Canada, given all the contributions that we make to the whole country.
Jeffrey Swanson says his focus as a member of the New Democrat Party is climate change and the impact it could have on farmers around the region.
For Lakeland, I would say climate change. It's going to hit us all hard, but it's going to hit Lakeland especially hard. I know there are a lot of hardworking farmers out here, and weather patterns becoming unpredictable and ruining our crop yields and ruining our growing seasons is going to be especially hard. Agriculture and rural communities make up about a third of Canada's total economy, and we can't afford that here in Lakeland.
Roberta Graham, running for the Veterans Coalition Party, wants to make things easier for farmers and also improve conditions for Indigenous peoples.
Farmers are having a lot of issues through too much taxation and too many restrictions. We plan to lower the tax by 1% on inherited farms and businesses. We also, to keep the family farm unit together, and like I said, bringing clean water and decent housing to our Indigenous.
Voters will cast their ballots in just over a week on Monday, October 21st. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
With the long weekend and Thanksgiving upon us, one local elementary school had their annual turkey trot. They also held a turkey chase that was a bit outside the box. They might not have been chasing turkeys exactly, but two of the students. St. Joseph's Elementary has carried on this tradition since even some of the teachers went to the school when they were kids.
It was our annual turkey trot, and we initiate the new teachers with chasing some turkeys. I like the old traditions. Teachers have been razzing me about it for months, like I didn't know what was going to happen, but it was still fun to be a part of it.
With the turkey chase also came with the turkey trot, where all the students go for a walk around the park, a fun way to get the kids outside before the weather gets colder.
They really loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was just worried I was going to drag down one of the turkeys and hurt one of them. It just gets all the kids really excited, right? Something a little different, and it's one of our last days before we can utilize outside, so it's nice to have the kids outside too.
After the walk, the students and parents headed inside where they had lunch and gave away a turkey. Now we go to our Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here. Today we are talking a little bit about the Lions Club and all that they do have going on here, as we do go into the winter. And JC Dauphinais joins me now. So first off, can you give us maybe a little background onto the Lions Club and what you guys do here in the community?
Yes, the Lions Club has been around for a long time. We do community work as well as fundraising, community work with and internationally as well. We have a lot of different projects going on in the community, and for example, we've had medieval feast just recently, and we also planted 9 trees in our Mother Teresa School. So we've been busy at work. It's been a busy start of the year, Lions year, and we're continuing on.
Awesome. And now if people do want to say join up, are they able to do so? And if so, how can they do that?
Yes, you can just contact us at lloydminsterlions@gmail.com. You can get a hold of us there, or you can give a hold of me or my membership chair, Rick McMahon. Give me a call anyways at 306-821-6240.
All right, thank you for this, and we are going to have some more again from back here talking the Lions Club and all that they do have going on here throughout the winter, but before that we're going to head back into the studio.
Thanks, eBay. Plenty of sunlight, just a couple of clouds so far on this nice casual Friday. Though 7 degrees is a little below the seasonal average, it's still warmer than what we're going to get used to in the coming weeks. Your records back in 1991, we had 24 degrees. That was a nice warm start to Thanksgiving weekend, -9. Back in 2012 was your all-time low. The wind, fortunately, has calmed down to less than 10 kilometers per hour, so at least the wind chill is only in the range of about 5-6 degrees. Watches and warnings clear at the moment. There is, however, now a chance of some precipitation over the weekend that we have to keep an eye out for. Again, relatively clear, just a couple of clouds making their way through Edmonton region, though not bringing with them any precipitation. A few other current temperatures: 7 degrees in Cold Lake, Meadow Lake, Battleford, and Saskatoon, North Battleford specifically. Edmonton's been nice and warm today at 10 degrees, plenty of sunlight there. Provost 8 degrees, that's the same in Murnum, while Isle Cross sits at 6 degrees. So again, plenty of sunlight, but there is going to be increasing cloud cover over the next couple of days, and there is a chance of some snow on the way. So -7 tomorrow should be the low. Again, relatively sunny afternoon with some winds out of the southeast. Calm winds again on Sunday, high of 7, low -6, and that's where you see that cloud cover picking up. Monday, there is a 25% chance of precipitation according to the Weather Network there. Environment Canada is calling for a possibly 60% chance of snow either Sunday or Monday, so do keep your eye out on those alerts. +5 the high, then -1 for the low. The wind will be switching to the north-northwest, and there is a pickup. So again, a storm making its way through. Whether or not it brings with it several centimeters of snow, we will find out soon enough on this Thanksgiving weekend. Again, a little cooler than the average for this time of the year. Hopefully it's just not snowed on too much. That's your 3-day forecast. 7 days coming up later on the show.
Welcome back. Cold, wet weather is really impacting the Saskatchewan harvest this season. Only 55% of the crop is now in the bin. That's up 47% from last week, but remains well behind the 5-year average of 82% for this time of year. According to the crop report, much of the harvest is tough or damp and is being put into grain dryers and aeration bins. Now let's take a look at your ag prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Lloydminster will now be hosting 2 high school football playoff games. After last night's Lloyd Comp win, the 2 Lloyd teams finished number 1 and 2 in the regular season. The Barons beat the St. Paul Lions by a staggering 41-13. Playing huge roles in the game were stud offensive players Anton Amarud and Matthew Morin.
So it was a rocky start to our season, so a lot of kids had to come together and realize that football is a team sport and we all got to work together.
Now looking at the playoff picture, Holy Rosary will take on the St. Paul Lions. Those teams had a close battle back in Week 3. Holy Rosary scored a season-low 15 points in that game. An even closer match was Lloyd Comp and Bonnyville, who will see each other in their first-round matchup. Lloyd Comp won the regular season game 22-21.
You know, it's just another game, right? You got to prepare for it regular, and you got to just go out and ball out.
Now we go to our Eric Bay, who was on location earlier today.
Once again, we are back here today talking about the Lions Club, and they have a ton of stuff here going on over the next month or so, and JC Dauphiné joins me once again, and you guys have kicked off your sock drive. So can you give us a little background as to what that drive actually is?
So the sock drive was presented from one of our members, and I know there's other ones going on throughout the community. We specifically have in 2 locations in town here that have barrels that with our logo on it and with the sock drive. So it's basically for people to bring socks, drop them off for the needy, and they can have a pair of fresh, clean, warm socks for the winter months coming up. Now this is our 2nd time doing it. We had it last year as well, and we went to the men's shelter, and they said they don't only use it for their feet, but if they don't have gloves, they use them for their socks. So what a wonderful thing that is. They're not their feet, it's their hands. So
definitely very important for sure as we do get a little colder. So speaking on that point as well, are you guys just looking for socks, or if people do want, are they able to donate, say, other articles of clothing such as gloves?
We specifically wanted to stay with socks. I mean, of course, we're not going to throw away gloves if that's the case, but specifically socks.
All right, perfect. And then just really quick here, if people are wanting to donate, how long do they have to do so here for your sock drive?
We're going on to November 7th at 2 locations, Bob Jack's Sheet Metal and also the Lloydminster Animal Hospital.
All right, thank you for this, and we are going to have some more from back here again, continuing with the Lions Club Sock Drive, which, as we mentioned, will be going on until November 7th. But before we do get to that, we are going to head back into the studio.
Thanks very much. Your next 24 hours here, we have a quick dip back into the minus territory by 10 p.m., but only a low of -7 this time, so not quite into the double-digit range, and we'll bounce back quickly. By 9 a.m., we're almost at 0, and then afternoon, we'll be in similar temperatures to what we had over the course of today, plus even more sunlight is on the way, so that's certainly good news. As you can see, these next 24 hours, relatively clear right across the entire province of Alberta, but there is cloud cover coming in from BC over the course of the day that will come into the western part of the province, maybe hitting Lloydminster overnight. And then, of course, this low pressure system is what you need to keep your eye on as you head into Sunday and specifically Monday. Again, relatively clear over the next 24 hours, at least in this region, as well as out into Edmonton, further south up in the Lakeland area as well. A few current temperatures: 7 degrees in Cold Lake, 9 in Athabasca, 10 in Whitecourt, 11 in Edson. Edmonton still holding strong double digits, 10 degrees there. Red Deer at 8 degrees. Jasper 9 degrees out in the mountains. They will be hit first when that low pressure system comes at the end of the long weekend. 6 in Meadow Lake, 6 in Prince Albert, and 5 out in Melfort rather. Saskatoon 6 degrees, so cooling down over the past 2 hours. And North Battleford is sitting at 7 degrees still in our broadcasting area. So everyone looking forward to a not totally freezing Thanksgiving weekend, but things will start to cool down, especially when the wind picks up on Monday. -8 the overnight low in the Battlefords, and they should be experiencing some calmer winds over the next 24 hours. Northwest switching to the east, and that'll get into single-digit speeds from the east and the northeast. 8 degrees for their high tomorrow. Again, expecting a lot of sunlight. 7 degrees is also the current Cold Lake temperature. Wind coming out of the east will actually pick up a little bit, but it should remain on average below 10 kilometers per hour. -5 the overnight low, should be a clear sky, and that clear sky will continue on into tomorrow with a high of 9. In Lloydminster, also 7 degrees, -7 the overnight low, and the wind once again shifting from the northwest to the southeast, picking up a little bit as we will get some double-digit speeds of gusts of wind coming out of the southeast, but again, not in the 20-kilometer range where it'll make things really ugly indeed. And again, more sun rather expected tomorrow with a high of -8. But a chance of snow later in the week. 7 degrees on Sunday with a low of -6, then 5 on Monday as well as on Tuesday. Stronger chance of precipitation possibly on Monday in the evening. 10 degrees Wednesday with a low of -2, so that's a nice warm up on Wednesday with a little bit of sunlight, where we drop right back down on Thursday. 6 for the high, 0 for the low. Again, some outside chance of some snowfall there as the cloud cover picks up. Then 7 degrees on Friday, a low of -2. Some very strong winds though on the way at the end of these 7 days, so coming into that next weekend, it could get a little chillier than this week. So that's been your 7-day forecast. We'll have question of the day and more coming up after the break.
Once again, we are back here today, and today we have been talking with the Lions Club about what they do have going on here over the next few months, and JC Dauphiné joins me here once again. And now, talking about that sock drive, why did you guys kind of decide, getting socks and grabbing that clothing for those less fortunate?
We were presented this, and we were presented it, and it was hard. I know as a young person, I have my feet when coming home from school or whatever, and it's soaking wet and cold, and I couldn't imagine not coming home to something warm and my feet being warm, and it kind of resonated through all of our members, and we thought, well, let's try this. What does it hurt? It's not hard to do. Let's try to do this for these people.
No, definitely very important, especially in a climate such as this. And now you did mention this is the second year you guys have done this. So can you talk about what the response was like here last year when you guys did first start this off?
Yes, last year it turned out really good. Lots of group socks. We actually, you know, I have to say also it's for women, men, and children. We had a variety of different socks in there. And it turned out really well. We've had probably about 30 to 40 pairs of bundles of socks. So we were very happy with that turnout for sure.
No, that's great to hear. Now, just really quick, as we are kind of running out of time, but you do have a couple other things coming up here in November, so can you talk about that?
Yes, we have our Grey Cup pick and poll. It tells you pick your score for the upcoming Grey Cup, and you can get those from any Lions member. And then we also have November 1st, we're aiming to start a 50-50 draw, the boxes from each different locations in town here.
All right, thank you once again for doing this, and we are going to have some more from back here again, continuing with the Lions Club and all that is coming up here over the next couple of months. But before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
And so we begin with our question of the day. Once again, we're kind of trying to give something very specific to Thanksgiving, but it's such a broad question we can get all sorts of different responses. One of my favorite responses here, Judy Wenzel says, family, health, and pumpkin pie with huge piles of whipped cream sprinkled with nutmeg. So that's what she remembers most. And family and food in general are kind of things people have talked about. I know you've talked about that specifically. For some people, they don't like the interaction necessarily because there's a lot of arguing amongst family, but it's still a sort of a break from everyone's routine.
Yeah, I think that sometimes depending on how your Thanksgiving goes, that it can either go well or it can go a little bit off. But I think I think the food makes up for it, because if you have a good Thanksgiving dinner, you just kind of feel better after eating all of that.
Well, and I think a problem that a lot of people run into, at least maybe I run into it too much, is that once you've had one turkey and you go to the next family reunion, that's the next day of the long weekend, you're a little turkeyed out at that point.
Yeah, I usually only have one Thanksgiving, so I'm pretty fine with that. But I know after a certain while, it's just the leftovers. Maybe just for me, I can't keep eating that over and over.
Maybe I'm interconnected with too many families or something. But yeah, enough with too much turkey. I know that these kitty cats and dogs we're going to feature probably would love to join in on turkey, but we're always telling them no when they come beg for scraps at the dinner table. Oben, submitted by Heather, is our first up.
It looks like he's just enjoying the outside now. This nice weekend, probably.
Yeah, probably nicer than what's going on outside on Monday. Critter is next. That's from Katie.
It looks very fluffy and just stretched out across the ground.
Yeah, good flexibility there. Followed by Denzel.
I like that name, and I like this cat as well. Very cute.
Yeah, so there's some personality there. Nimbus and Morticia. Is that a Harry Potter thing?
It might be. They're complete opposites, so I feel like the names kind of work.
And finally, Poppy ends it.
Very cute fur. I like the way the coloring is in the fur.
Interesting pick. And remember, you need a name with that interesting pick to have a chance at a gift card.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
In studio, we have Abby St. John, who's on her way on holiday, but we had to get your Halloween movies before you enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. Abby, of course, is doing a 31 movies in 31 days, and you're starting things off with a movie that many people now seen in September, those maybe some people still are late to the theater like myself. It Chapter 2, the sequel to the most successful R-rated movie of all time, and so far from what I've heard, it's lived up to the hype.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely a great continuation on from It Chapter 1, so we do have a clip from the trailer.
To the losers.
We made an oath.
Swear? If it isn't dead, if it ever comes back, we'll come back to it.
We didn't stop it.
Pennywise.
The clown.
Now, It Chapter 2, honestly, it could be a standalone movie. You don't necessarily have to see the first one. That's how great it is. but definitely putting both of them together really showcased just how epic both of them really are and how they wrapped up the storyline very nicely in their own way, as well as taking obviously from the book as they needed to, and even bits from the miniseries as well. I definitely saw some comparisons, like the Chinese restaurant scene was in the miniseries as well as in the new one. So I thought it was fantastic. All the adult casting, I believe, and a lot of critics have believed it was perfect casting. Bill Hader, Jessica Chastain was wanted from the very start to play adult Beverly. You got James McAvoy, who is brilliant in almost everything that he does. So I think it was just perfect casting for a great wrap up to It chapter, or the It saga.
And as we kind of established last week, you're a big fan of the book, or reading the book as well. You're a big Stephen King fan. This one is kind of a little bit more faithful to the book from what you've read.
Yes, definitely. I did see a lot of the movie in the second part from the book, so that was great. And Stephen King even makes a cameo in the movie, which I don't think he's ever done in any of his movies.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I think you might be right on that one. So there's a good bit of trivia for you, and another reason to check out It Chapter 2. Really quick, we got to go into a more family-friendly movie, though it certainly has its creepy moments. The Nightmare Before Christmas, a stop-motion classic.
Yes, so we're just going to go right into the clip.
Well, what have we here? Santa Claus, huh? Ooh, I'm really scared. So you're the one everybody's talking about. You're joking. I can't believe my eyes. You're joking me. You gotta be. This can't be the right guy. He's ancient. He's ugly. I don't know which is worse. I might just split a seam now if I don't die laughing first.
So this scene was a pretty iconic scene. Oogie Boogie scaring Santa Claus as Jack had kidnapped him from Christmas Town because he wants to create his own Christmas after getting bored with doing the same tricks every year on Halloween on humans. So I think this was a great movie, and I think that is definitely lived up to its time, and it's aged well throughout many generations.
Yeah, it's something, I guess, the charm of stop motion compared to other forms of animation. It still holds up despite changes in technology.
Exactly. I think it's great, and I think any age can enjoy it. Maybe wait till you're a little bit older, right. But definitely would recommend. It's definitely a great movie.
Yeah, obviously a choice that parents will have to make with the little ones. So.
I'm Justin with Boom 1019 and 93.7 Win FM, and here's what's happening. The 2019 Father-Daughter Gala is going down Thursday, November 28th. 5:30 registration, 6 o'clock dinner, and a dance to follow. It's happening at the Vermilion Regional Center. The early bird draw for that one is November 1st, and it is sponsored by Northsport and Websport. Do you have a story that needs to be told? Or maybe you know someone that needs help telling theirs? Well, the Intro to Memoir Writing is happening in Wainwright Tuesdays, October 15th to November 5th. Make sure you sharpen those writing skills. It's $75 per person. And to register, you just check out hello@wainwrightlearning.ca. You email hello@wainwrightlearning.ca. Now for some more fun stuff. Concert season is upon us. On October 19th, you can be rocking with Honeymoon Suite Prism and Lee Aaron in Sedgwick. It's going to be a good time. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster or the Co-op Food Store in Sedgwick or the Co-op Food Store in Killam. And last but not least, the Spaghetti Supper put on by Catholic Social Services here in Wainwright is going down November 2nd over at Blessed Sacrament Church Hall, 906 6th Ave. Doors are at 5:30 for that, and the dinner is at 6 p.m. Tickets are sold at the door, $8 for adults, $5 for youth, 6 to 17. And then, of course, kids under that get in for free. I'm Justin with Boom 1019 and 93.7 Wayne FM, and that's what's happening.
Back again for another couple movies on Abby St. John's 31 and 31 for Halloween movies in October. Jumping to one you hadn't seen before, Beetlejuice, one of the first movies Tim Burton directed in the 80s.
Yes, I had never seen it before the other day, so I wanted to add it because it's a classic, as I've been told. And you know what? In true Tim Burton fashion, it definitely is a Tim Burton movie. So just get right into the clip from Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime. Attention, Kmart shoppers.
Now with Beetlejuice, this definitely wouldn't recommend a family-friendly movie. There is definitely coarse language and just a little bit of not childlike scenes, but it definitely is Tim Burton. He's written all over the movies in the color schemes, in the theme of the movie. I thought it was, a little bit hysterical, but also a little bit scary for its time, and I think it's definitely aged well, but definitely for a specific group of audience.
And another movie that has aged very well, certainly in the minds of real big movie fans, is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, though it's not one of Stephen King's favorite adaptations of his book.
And it's not mine either, so we're just going to get right into a scene from The Shining. Now, this movie I had never seen before. It was super slow. I didn't get any suspensefulness that you're supposed to. This kind of movie is supposed to leave you unease. I did not feel any of that. Shelley Duvall's character, her acting was not great. She even was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Actress. Stanley Kubrick was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Director. So labeling it a classic, I don't really see where people were coming from. I definitely didn't like it as much as I thought I was because it had been hyped up so much. Jack Nicholson was obviously phenomenal because he is a great actor. The little boy who played Danny was also really great for his age. And then you had the iconic scenes like the twins in the hallway. That was certainly creepy. I don't think it came off as a horrific movie. I definitely didn't get any horror aspect from it when it's supposed to have that. So I'm in the same boat as Stephen King, not my favorite. I am currently reading the book, and so far, there's bits and pieces that character-wise aren't in the movie. It's just the personalities of some of the characters aren't outlined in the movie, so I definitely wouldn't consider this an adaptation. Definitely, would I consider it a horror movie? I mean, it's supposed to be, but I didn't really get any scare or suspense from it at all.
Maybe a movie then that could benefit from a remake, as they remake many movies. Do you think that it could use that touch, or would it have to be closer to Stephen King's material?
I think it may have to be a little bit closer, but he did try to make a TV film adaptation. Didn't really translate well with audience members, so I think it definitely has to be done right. Maybe even getting Andy Muschietti to direct it could be a possibility, but definitely maybe could do a remake on it.
Okay. And definitely obviously would help from having a few more recent computer animated effects compared to what existed in the time. Thanks again from Abby. We'll have more movies next week.